Hey, the Long Top 10s here. Our whole past is filled with lots of colorful characters who often get left out of the history books, from swashbuckling adventures to love stories to tales of rags to riches. Their lives seem plucked right out of a Hollywood blockbuster, like Pirates of the Caribbean, for example. Guys, don't get me wrong there. Some of these could be why the inspiration of Pirates of the Caribbean even came along. So anyway, we're going to take a look at the list of the 10 historical adventures worthy of Hollywood. Maybe these are recreate these scenes right now. Maybe you could do it if you have an animation channel. And if you're very detailed, then something you could probably do. Either way, let's just give you some ideas. Now if you don't mind. Okay. Let's start off with number 10 with Lord Timothy Dexter. Now, Timothy Dexter, guys. Now, everyone knows, or people should know by this point, that sometimes it is better to be lucky than smart. And nobody exemplified this better than 18th century Massachusetts businessman named Timothy Dexter. Born into a family of laborers, Dexter was largely uneducated but had a lifelong desire to integrate himself into the upper echelons of society. He took the first step in the right direction when he married a well-off widow while working as a leather craftsman apprentice. Dexter's true stroke of fortune came towards the end of the Revolutionary War. By that time, continental currency had depreciated so badly that $40 in paper money brought $1 in goods, hence the expression, not worth the continental. As a sign of good faith, wealthy Americans began buying continental dollars from destitute soldiers wanting to fit in. Dexter spent his entire wealth on continental currency. Afterward, Alexander Hamilton enacted his first financial plan, and Dexter traded his continentals for treasury bonds and made a fortune. Apocryphal stories now arose of Dexter undertaking foolish financial ventures, yet somehow still making a profit. He was allegedly convinced to export wool mittens to the tropical Indies, where they were bought by merchants headed for Siberia. Another time, people told Dexter to ship coal to Newcastle, which he did, supposedly, during a miners' strike, and sold his cargo for a premium. Yearning to show off his intellectual side, Lord Dexter, as he called himself, wrote a 9,000-word half-biography, half-philosophy book. It had no punctuation, random capitalizations, and numerous spelling errors. Not surprisingly, the title made very little sense. A pickle for the known ones that are plain truth in a homespun dress. Don't read that, guys. Alright, we go on to number 9 with Howard Blackburn. Now, he came from humble beginnings as a fisherman trying to make a living, first in Nova Scotia, then in Massachusetts. A 24-year-old Blackburn became a local legend back in 1883, when a winter storm blew his schooner off course. The captain had to roll back at freezing temperatures, without the benefit of heavy mittens. Knowing what would happen, Blackburn maintained his hands in the curved position, so he would be able to continue to row, even when they froze. He returned after sailing for 5 days without food, water, or sleep. His fishing mate died, and Blackburn lost all his fingers in a toe. Blackburn's fishing career was over, but his heroic new reputation helped him open a tavern, which still opens today. Soon enough, though, the call for adventure beckoned again. In 1899, Blackburn returned to the sea. He performed a solo crossing of the Atlantic, his first of 2, aboard the Great Western in 62 days. That's about 2 months and 2 extra days. While this had been accomplished a few times before, it was done by people who still had the use of their fingers. Even a year before dying, a 72-year-old Blackburn was planning another transatlantic voyage. He may probably do it forever. I don't know. Number 8. Henry Every. Now, Henry Every might not be along the most famous pirates in the world, but his exploits were enough to rival those of any real contemporary or Hollywood creation. He was not known as the king of pirates, guys, or for nothing back in 1695. Every made off with one of the biggest plunders in buccaneering history. Every heard of a Mongol Empire fleet returning home to India with a vast treasure of gold and silver, defended by scores of cannons and riflemen. To even stand a chance, Every had to ally himself with other pirates and ambush the 25-ship Mongol flotilla. Now, Every's partner, Captain Thomas, too, fell in battle against an escort ship. However, this allowed every ship, the Fancy, to catch up to the Mongol flagship, Genji Izawa. After a fierce fight and more than a few strokes of good luck, Henry Every took the Dange Shawali and plundered up to £600,000 in valuables, instantly becoming the richest pirate ever. The attack significantly soured Anglo-Indian relations, and with a huge bounty on his head, Henry Every became the most wanted man in the world. Astonishingly, this did not stop him from leaving the pirate life behind and enjoying its spoils. Like most of his pirates, Every was never captured or killed in battle. He simply disappeared from the history books, and nobody knows what happened to him or his treasure. That's probably why it's not in the history books now these days, guys. Alright, we go on to number 7 with William John Cavendish, Scott Bentinck, 5th Duke of Portland. Like his father and his father before him, William John Cavendish became Duke of Portland and served as a member of Parliament while residing at the family estate, Welbeck Abbey in Nottinghamshire in England. However, he became better known for his eccentricities and for a bizarre paternity suit occurring almost 2 decades after his death. There is no doubt that Lord Cavendish valued his privacy. Many stores paint him as an extreme introvert. Allegedly, his valet was the only person allowed to see him. The Duke communicated with everyone else either through him or in writing. All the servants and workers on his estate were instructed to never acknowledge him and ignore him, even if they had to pass by him in the hallway. The Duke's introversion led him underground, and he oversaw the extensive building of halls and tunnels underneath Welbeck Abbey. This included a secluded passage for his carriage all the way to the station, and a giant ballroom. Even though Cavendish never invited anyone over, let anyone throw a party, in particular. 18 years after his death, a widow named Anna Maria Druce came forward, claiming that Cavendish's reclusiveness allowed him to lead a double life as her father-in-law, Thomas Charles Druce, before faking his death. The case dragged on for over a decade, leading to an examination, several courts of perjury, and 2 people being committed to an asylum. That's nice. Number 6. General Gregory McGregor. Now, there are 2 vastly different chapters in the life of Gregory McGregor. A member of the clan made famous by Rob Roy McGregor. The first was his military career. McGregor served as an officer in the British Army between 1803 and 1810, fighting the Napoleonic Wars and rising to the rank of general. Afterward, he joined the Venezuelan forces in their war for independence against Spain, becoming a hero worthy of full military honors upon his death. Then, there was also the Gregory McGregor, who tried to pull off one of the most audacious cons in history. Upon his return to Britain, McGregor claimed to have been made cazique, or prince, of a new country called Poyas near the Black River. This 8-million-acre area was rich and fertile, but needed investors and settlers to develop it. Due to the disintegration of the Spanish Empire, investing in the new Latin American governments was considered the smart thing to do, and McGregor generously offered a £200,000 Poyas bond at a 6% return rate. So really, smart man. Smart man. Alright. Number 5. Sidney Weinberg. Now, Hollywood loves a rags to riches story, and few, if any, top that of early 20th century investment banker Sidney Weinberg. He came from meager beginnings, one of 11 children of Jewish immigrants who came to New York chasing the American dream. He dropped out of school at age 15 and started looking for work. In 1907, 16-year-old Weinberg wanted to work on Wall Street. He picked a nice-looking tall building, 43 Exchange Place, and, well, went to every office asking if they needed a boy for year ends. He landed a position as a janitor's assistant at a small brokerage house named Goldman Sachs. Now, one day, Weinberg delivered a flagpole to the Sachs residence where he made enough of a positive impression of Paul Sachs to get promoted to the mailroom. His hard work continued and Weinberg went to business school on the company's dime. By 1927, Weinberg became a partner. By 1930, he became CEO of Goldman Sachs. After saving the fledgling company from bankruptcy, he kept that position for 39 years, earning the moniker Mr. Wall Street. Number 4. Red Greaves. The story of Red Greaves reads like a fanciful tale out of a book. Greaves was born sometime in the mid-17th century to Scottish parents, exiled to Barbados by Oliver Cromwell for participating in the Scottish Civil War. Sold into slavery, Greaves tried to escape by stowing away on a ship. Unknowingly boarded a pirate ship commanded by one Captain Hawkins. Now, when he was discovered, Greaves had little choice but to join the crew, even though he despised Hawkins' cruel treatment of his prisoners. Eventually, Greaves challenged Hawkins' leadership, and after a bestial duel, he became the new captain. That's all I'll tell you about, guys. You can find more out. Number 3. Henry Cyril Paget, the 5th Marquis of Anglesey. Now, Henry, who was the Earl of Uxbridge and 5th Marquis of Anglesey, lived a life that will make any 1970s glam rocker jealous. At age 23, Paget inherited a giant estate called Plas Newydd, and a fortune. By age 27, it was all gone. In 1905, age 29, Paget died with millions of pounds in debt. The Marquis embodied the live fast, die young mantra, although he preferred to spend his money on jewelry and luxury clothing. That's all I'll tell you guys about. It's pretty simple what happened. Number 2. Julie d'Aubigné, who was apparently Mademoiselle de Maupin. Alright. Few artists led a more thrilling life than 17th century opera singer Julie d'Aubigné, known as Mademoiselle de Maupin. Her youth was marked by a string of duels and love affairs as the young swashbuckler roamed the French countryside looking for adventure. It all started in 1687, when 14-year-old Maupin fled Paris with a fencing master named Serenis, staging singing and doing exhibitions to earn a living. When she got bored of him, Maupin started a love affair with a young woman who was partly sent off to a convent by her parents. Supposedly, Maupin followed her and granted entry into the convent as a postulant. There, Maupin faked the death of her lover by setting her room on fire and leaving behind the body of a recently deceased nun. This prolonged their romance for a few more months later before Maupin got bored and moved on again. And I bet it goes on and on and on, guys. Just remember. Number 1. Adrien Carton de Walt. Now, Adrien Carton de Walt started his military career in 1899 by dropping out of college and joining the British Army to fight in the Second Boer War, which was taking place in Africa at the time. He was sent back to England after being shot in the stomach and groin. Ugh, ouch. At the outbreak of World War I, Carton joined the Somaliland Camel Corps, which was occupied by Italy back then. During an attack, he was shot in the face, losing an eye and a bit of an ear. Again, he was sent back to England to, well, you can already tell, guys. He wore an eye patch. It became his distinguishing feature. He went back to war on the European front. Alright, that's it, guys. Subscribe to my channel. Check out my Patreon page down below and like this video. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.